Hello YouTube, and welcome back to World of Warships with Wadres again, and today I am going to be running a battle for you in the Tier 3 Premium British battleship, the HMS Dreadnought. Now, this is a very special ship to say the least. First off, she is the ship that you earn for completing 40 daily missions. The only other way to get her right now is also in a pack with the Tier 8 Premium British battleship, the HMS Vanguard, which, personally, I'm not all that interested in. I was more interested in the Dreadnought, and for more than one reason. Primarily, the sense that she is the first modern battleship. So, yeah, definitely a nice and unique ship to have in the port, and definitely more for historical factor more than anything else. Now, I will say she is a beautiful ship, and she does have some reasonably good stats to look at. Now, I am going to skip back and forth a couple of times here and compare her with the HMS Bellerophon, so just kind of bear with me. To start off with, Dreadnought has 37,400 hit points. Compare that to the Bellerophon's 33,400 and upgraded 38,100. So, to start off with, she has better hit points, and she is a little bit lacking later on. However, she doesn't really hurt all that much for a couple of hundred hit points. Her main battery is decent. She has the 5 double 305mm batteries, same as on the Bellerophon. The only real difference is in the secondary armament. The Bellerophon has 14 102mm guns, and the Dreadnought has 17 78mm guns. So what she lacks in caliber, she makes up for in quantity. And of course, the main battery shells also do decent damage at 5200 per HE shell and 8100 per AP shell maximum. So, definitely some decent stats all the way around for her guns. The HE shells also get 32% fire chance and have a maximum range of 13.7 kilometers, so a nice decent range for a Tier 3. At her tier, she also gets 21 knots, which is reasonably quick for a Tier 3 battleship. Not the fastest, but it's not hurting for speed too much. She also has a nice tight 520 meter turning circle and 11.6 second rudder shift. As far as her detectability, she is seen on the surface from 11.9 kilometers. In smoke after firing, she is seen at 9.4 kilometers, and her detectability range by air is 8.7 kilometers. So, definitely some decent values there as well. And the one thing that I do have to note is that she doesn't have AA at all, so it's not even worth investing in any AA skills or whatever. But this captain, I have dumped a few points into him so I can get him up there. He has Survivability Expert, Preventative Maintenance, Expert Marksman, and Adrenaline Rush. And primarily just to get him a decent head start on most of the competition. Now, as I was saying a little bit earlier, the primary benefit of this ship, more than anything else, is just her historical value. She is a beautiful ship, and she is the ship that basically defined an entire class of ships. Even now, a lot of battleships, whatever, ships like the Iowa class, the Yamato class, the Bismarck, ships like that, were considered to be super dreadnoughts. The USS Texas, if I'm not mistaken, was considered to be the US Navy's first true dreadnought comparison. So, again, this was the ship that was basically considered for a long time to be the standard upon which battleships were built. And she is beautiful. She is also very powerful in game with her wide array of secondary batteries and those nice, strong, heavy 305mm guns. Now, I will also go on record in saying that she is a Tier 3, so she benefits from Tier 3 matchmaking. I don't think she can see anything above Tier 4. I could be wrong. But, I mean, overall, definitely, she's definitely nothing to shake a stick at. Her armor is also rather unique. No, well, I can't exactly say unique, but it is good. In that she has a nice turtleback armor scheme, where most of the other battleships, with exception of, I think no, not the Nassau, the Kaiser, whichever the Tier 4 German is, and the Corbeil, I believe, for the French line. Or is it the Turenne? It's been so long, I honestly forget which ones they are. But they also have turtleback armors as well. But the Dreadnoughts is just rather unique and effective, especially if you go into the port view and just open up the armor profile and look at some of her dimensions. As far as everything else goes, her guns are very effective. Granted, her armor-piercing shells tend to over-pierce or over-penetrate pretty dramatically, but that's kind of a given at this tier. I mean, most ships have barely any armor at all, so most of the time, especially when you're looking at lighter ships like the cruisers and destroyers, you're more wanting to look at utilizing your HE shells instead of your AP, something that I actually learned rather quickly in this match. The other thing to make due note of is because the armor belts are substantially more effective at the lower tiers, you're kind of wanting to aim more towards the deck of enemy battleships instead of at full broadside armor belts. Mainly because while you don't have an while you can still penetrate and get citadels, it's at this tier again. If the armor's too weak, you're more likely to overpen. If the armor's too strong, you're just likely to shatter. And there are still a couple of ship schemes that have sort of recessed citadels, or even just very well armored citadels. So you, for the most part, you just end up getting penetrations. And I just found that for my purposes, when I was using her shooting at other battleships, that it was easier to aim at the deck more so than at the waterline, even if they were showing me a nice, beautiful broadside. My damage was more consistent the higher I aimed up on the ship. So that's one of the things to kind of consider with her, is just that the penetration isn't really there to get into the citadels. But she does still have some pretty strong shells regardless. The biggest thing to note there is, again, you just have to be a little bit more careful regarding your shell placement and where you want your shells to go. But overall, definitely not bad. The one thing I will say is, like the Bellerophon, she does have some nice, unique armor angles regarding her upper deck, so you do have to be a little bit more, well, actually you can be rather aggressive in some ways regarding your attack scheme, because she has some nice narrow zones, but if you aim above if shells hit above the deck, there is that nice flat area where you can see some penetrations, so just kind of have to be a little careful there. And just overall, not as far as I've seen playing with her, at least for the couple of matches that I've taken her in with, she's definitely a nice, strong ship, and a very nice addition to the port of anybody who happens to get a hold of her. And again, you can get a hold of her via the daily missions, completing 40 of them for the month of December. I'm sure a lot of players have been working on that quite heavily, trying to get her. And, of course, there is also, as part of the HMS Vanguard packs, though that can be rather expensive, considering I think the HMS Vanguard's cheapest pack is something like $50. So I suppose it depends on how much you really want to have this ship. Anyway, with the match being over, just kind of gonna run you through her earnings. As far as the gross battle rewards, she earns 49,536 credits, 1,551 experience points, and 172 free experience points for this match that I just had. And that was for 63,031 damage done, 50 main battery hits on target, 2 ship kills, 3 fires, and 89 secondary battery hits. So yeah, just very definite, strong results all around, and definitely broke even on this match. In fact, more than broke even. I also came out very easily at the top of the team with 248 base experience points earned. Our Mikasa, which is widely considered to be one of the more interesting or better ships, I guess, regarding her secondaries especially, was the worst off, so I don't know what that says about the team for this match either. But anyway. Overall, the damage done, I did 3,600 damage with my secondaries, 4,800 damage with fires, and the rest was from my main battery, 55,337. And I also tanked a surprising amount of damage, 609,000 potential damage tanked on this ship at Tier 3. I don't even see that number on some of my Tier 9s or 10s, so that's interesting. And of course, net earnings, I came off with 35,196 credits, and the commander earned 2,097 experience points for this match. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this battle. It was definitely a fun battle, and I will say straight up that the Dreadnought, while it is low tier, is a very fun and enjoyable ship to play. You just have to be a little bit careful regarding your shell placement, but otherwise, I see no issues with her. I think she is nice and strong as she is, and definitely something that any player can enjoy fully. On that note, I suppose I shall move on, let you all go. Please take care, have a good one. Do not forget to like and subscribe to the channel if you have enjoyed what you've seen here, and I shall catch you all later. Happy hunting out there.